All right, good morning, everyone. And this is actually a live video for Monday. Yeah, have the day off. So we've got our updated standings and stars of the week. Um, and if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that I simplify things on the standings. So you have your basic wins, losses, overtime losses, your points, and regulation wins. At this stage of the game, all you need to remember is everything goes by points first, and then by regulation wins. So that does come into play this week as we see Baton Rouge and Blue Ridge tied in points, but Baton Rouge has the edge because they have one more regulation win. So, eh, I still don't know why uh, the Fed decides to do overtime wins, shootout wins. Basically, overtime wins and shootout wins. You both get in both of them. You get 1 point. So why separate those two? I don't know. It's a waste of time. But anyway, so this is a simplified look. Yes, Columbus back on the top of the Continental Division. Actually, they still technically were on top last week. They held the tiebreaker in regulation wins last week with the Carolina Thunderbirds, but there's 3 points between them now. So Carolina, of course, splitting with Binghamton this last week, while Columbus ended up winning both of their games. So now Port Huron leapfrogged over Mississippi. Port Huron now in third place. So surprise, surprise. In the Empire Division, everything as far as the team's orders stay the same as it's been the last 3 weeks, I guess. So yeah, Binghamton's still on top. Motor City with that a rough weekend this last weekend, losing Babin the injury. Uh, that's pretty rough. The team's really been struggling with injuries this year, and of course, that's nobody's fault. It's just sometimes it happens. Last year, Watertown, it seemed like the entire team was hurt the entire year, and Motor City is kind of going through a degree of that now. Um, but once everybody does get back healthy, I think Motor City is going to be making some noise. So I'm not too concerned about them at this point. All right, so that is a look at that. 5 stars of the week. There were a lot of Hatties this last weekend. So there's a lot of people that I could have chosen. Um, But again, this is just my take. This is the 5 that I put, and again, in alphabetical order by last name. So I'm not saying one of these 5 had the best week of everybody. Just you know, 5 good performances. Trevor Lord, yeah, getting the Hattie in the one game, getting a couple assists in the other. So 5 points over the weekend for Trevor Lord, who I'm still putting in as probably going to end up being defensive man of the year. Um, I know he plays forward a lot of time, but he's technically listed as defenseman. So, all right, Connor McAnanama seemed to have had the best performance goalie wise of anyone. Um, Ended up stopping 39 of 40 in Friday's game against Carolina. Looked very, very good. A little shaky very at the very, very beginning of the game, and then he settled in and played lights out. So yeah, 39 out of 40 saves and a win. So that was a good performance by CMAC. Um, for the River Dragons, you could mention a whole bunch of players. A lot of players had banner weekends with offense, but Josh Prichentanio, he really stuck out to me in his overall play. 3 goals and an assist, so very nice weekend for him. Jacob Wolf. Talk about a glue guy. This guy right now is holding the Blue Ridge Bobcats together, and um, yeah, he just keeps plugging along, um, ending up with much better offensive numbers than I would expect it. Again, he's one of my favorite guys in the FPHL. I've mentioned it before, just because he does all the little things right and well, and well, now he's added scoring to his repertoire. So very nice weekend for Mr. Wolf. And then Houston Wilson leading the charge in Elmira's only game this last weekend, helping the team to break their 8-game losing streak, putting up a Hattie. Power play helped quite a bit there. But really, really good play from Houston Wilson and from the entire team. But um, I thought about mentioning Stephen Klink, but Wilson, he just kind of provided that emotional charge that the River Sharks needed. So that is that part. We're going to pause this for a second. All right, and we're going to talk about our power rankings, which I would normally do on Spotify, but I figured, hey, I can do all this stuff on one video, so let's go through this. All right, so this is power rankings for week 9. Again, highly subjective. I know you're looking at the list, and some of you are saying, "What the actual?" Let me get through it. Okay, starting off 11th, Elmira. They did win their game very convincingly, but they're still at the bottom of the standings overall. Still have a lot of work to do, but at least we finally saw some good momentum from them, so that was good. Hopefully better days are ahead for Elmira and they can climb up the ladder here. Number 10, moving down one spot, I have the Blue Ridge Bobcats. Yes, they split with the Zydeco, but I feel like they're still kind of like a car engine that isn't syncing up right. You just have those hiccups going as it's idling. I kind of feel like Blue Ridge is still doing that to a great degree. You look at the list of names that they have, and it seems like they've got the talent, they've got some good players, and it just seems like any given week, a couple of those players show up and others don't. So there's got to be more. There's got to be more synchronicity to the team, especially offensively. They're capable of so much more. Number 9, climbing up a spot. Second straight week, they've moved up a spot. The Baton Rouge Zydeco. I have expressed on Facebook how I've been very impressed with how they have played over the last 3 to 4 weeks. The good positive changes that I think they're making to their lineup. I would not be at all surprised, despite the slow start, to see Baton Rouge challenge for that 4th place spot. It's not that far off. Right now it's 9 points difference. That's 3 wins. Oh, by the way, Baton Rouge plays 3 games this weekend, so we'll see what happens. All right, number 8, moving down one spot, I have Mississippi. Obviously, a very, very tough weekend. You take on the River Dragons. That's tough. That is a tough weekend, and I really feel like things are typical for Mississippi, except for the fact that the last couple of weeks they've been struggling a lot more on offense, and suddenly you're not seeing the amount of production from Lariakos and Koch and Nilsson that you did earlier this year. And so things are running a little bit cold right now offensively. Obviously, defensively, they they struggle just all the time. So yeah, they need that offense if they're going to keep their head above water. Number 7, moving up one place this week, I have the Port Huron Prowlers. Two good comeback wins against the Rockers this last weekend. A lot of determination that was shown. Good character wins. I still have some serious questions regarding their uh, consistency on offense and at the goalie position with Tucker Tynan up in the SP. Uh, I'm not sure how they're going to be doing as far as their goaltending. Can they hold on? We will see. Number 6, moving down one spot, Watertown. Yeah, they had kind of a rough weekend. First, there was the tough game in Elmira, and then they lose a heartbreaker in Danbury in the shootout. Um, Losing Tate Leeson for the weekend really hurt them, but he will be back. The Leeson call up to the ECHL was only for this last weekend, so hopefully Watertown gets firing back on all cylinders once again. Some chemistry issues seems to be. You get one person that's doing all the heavy lifting, and it doesn't seem like there's much contribution from support. So uh, I don't know. Number 5, moving up one spot, the Danbury Hat-Tricks. They have quietly been improving as each week has passed on. They're a little bit more stable on defense, which a lot of that is because of health. Of course, Kyle Gonzalez is still out on IR. That's a big hole to fill. But I think their scoring is becoming better balanced, and they're playing pretty well. Number 4, Motor City Rockers. Losers of 4 straight injuries. That's the thing, injuries. They've got to get healthy. And again, that's not really anything you can fix other than through rest. So we'll see how Motor City handles things this next weekend. Hopefully, they'll have a couple players back. Nicholas Diaz. We'll see how they do. Number 3, and yes, I know they split their weekend series and they played extremely well on Saturday. But yeah, I have Carolina moving down a spot. It's not so much because they did anything wrong. It's just Columbus. Yeah, I'm jumping ahead. Columbus just is playing lights out. I feel like Carolina is still kind of looking up a little bit at Columbus. Number 2, moving down the spot, I have the Binghamton Black Bears. Of course, they played well on Friday. They did not play well on Saturday. So, still, they ended up taking 7 of 12 points in the series with the Carolina Thunderbirds this year. So, it was a hard-earned split. But yeah, they've got some questions to answer as far as discipline and as far as injuries. They lost a couple guys to injury on Saturday, and they're going to have 2 or 3 players suspended this week. So it's going to be tough weekend for them up ahead. Number 1, the Columbus River Dragons. They're just wow. You can't say much. They're winning in overwhelming fashion. They're an offensive juggernaut, as I expected at the beginning of the year. And so I moved them back up to number 1. So remember, of course, this is purely subjective. This is just my look at things, and just to give you a general idea of how teams are trending. All right. So nothing more than that. So please don't send me hate mail. Fans in Mississippi, fans in Carolina. It's just my take. All right. that is it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tomorrow we'll be back on Spotify. Have yourself a great week.